Hallo ihr Lieben, ich bin Pia und ihr gehört gerade die DIFFUS News, heute in einer Interviewausgabe, denn ich habe die zauberhafte Birdy zum Interview getroffen. Anlässlich des Releases ihres Albums Jahren haben wir uns über LA und Nashville unterhalten, zwei Orte, die sie während des Albumprozesses besucht hat, und wir haben über ihr kleines Adoptiv-Entenküken gesprochen. Ich wünsche euch jetzt ganz viel Spaß bei dem Interview und beim Anhören. Vergesst natürlich nicht, diesen Podcast hier zu abonnieren. Hey Birdy, my name is Pia and I work for a German online music magazine called DIFFUS. And today I would like to talk with you a little bit about your album and so on. But first, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Also very good, thank you. I would like to talk with you a little bit about your album, but before we start, I have to ask you about your duck. I heard that you were the adoptive mother of a little duckling. How and when did this beautiful relationship start? And did the duck have a name?
It was like halfway through the first lockdown. This duck fell into a neighbour's swimming pool. And like we live by lots of lakes and out in the countryside, so I searched for her family and we couldn't find them, and so I ended up raising this little duck, and we called her Petrie, and she used to follow me around, and she learnt to fly, and then when I'd call her she'd come flying in, and yeah, she was kind of like my baby. It was really sweet, but she's since gone back into the wild, it's sad, but it's quite nice because I feel like she's a proper duck and I've done my job.
Is there any hope that you see her again?
Well, so actually a few days ago she was back in the garden. I think it was her, and she had two boyfriends with her. I'm pretty sure it was her because she went up to the paddling pool that she used to go in the garden, and it's where I used to feed her, so she sort of remembered it. So I think it was her, which is kind of cool.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that you see each other again. But we're meeting today mainly to talk about your new album and about how you have spent and experienced the last years, because with your hit song Skinny Love, you already became a superstar at the age of 14. When you look back on that time now, 10 years later, do you feel like you have missed your youth because of the media hype surrounded you?
I think that there have been some things that I've missed out on. And, it was hard at some points when I was away touring all the time, and, I wasn't able to do normal things that a teenager does, and just, being with my friends for the summer and going to festivals and parties and birthdays. And you do miss out on things like that when you're really busy. But I also, I was playing festivals, which was really exciting. And I was touring with this amazing band and we were having so much fun. And so there's kind of good and bad with it, but I'm grateful to have so much experience at the age I am now.
Today you're one of the biggest British pop singers and have a huge international fan base. Was there a moment in the past when you realized, wow, now I've really made it?
I don't know. I feel, I've been really lucky to be able to tour in so many different places. I think one of the most mind-blowing experiences was being in Australia. And I got to play 3 nights at the Sydney Opera House, which was amazing, and it's so beautiful to play there. So there's been a few moments like that which have just been kind of surreal.
It's been almost 5 years since the release of your last album, so it took a while until the release of Young Heart because you have a writer's block. To solve this, you took a little trip to LA and Nashville, but before I would like to talk about Nashville, I would like to know, was it your first time in LA, and how did you experience the city?
It wasn't my first time in LA. I actually recorded the first album in LA. So I've been there a few times and I've written there quite a lot. But I felt like on this record I saw a new side of LA, which I really enjoyed because I hadn't always liked it before. But this time I was staying in this beautiful house in Topanga Canyon, and it was very secluded and wild. And yeah, I think also I was just so inspired by Joni Mitchell on this record. And so just going to LA and the music had that sort of Laurel Canyon feel to it. So it was kind of perfect being there, and it felt like I was in the right place.
Can you tell me what influence LA had on your album?
Well, I think because the city is so vast, that really changed the music quite a lot. Because like my early records are all mostly inspired by where I grew up, and it's all very dark and like reflective and ethereal. Whereas LA is so vast, and like I think I just felt a bit lost and kind of out of my depth in this big city, and you can hear that in the music. Like the stories are kind of about that and being on my own for the first time.
As I said, you have also traveled to Nashville. How would you describe the place to someone who hasn't been there?
Well, Nashville is amazing. I'd toured there before, but I'd never written there until this album. And I had 10 days of writing, and I went there, and it was like instantly I just loved it, and I loved the people. Everyone is so friendly, and literally everybody you meet plays an instrument or writes music or is a producer, or it's so everyone's a musician, and they all play to such a high standard as well, which is just so impressive. But the main thing I loved about it was just it feels like there's no pressure, because everybody just wants to make something really nice and beautiful and have a good day. So it was just really fun being there.
Did Nashville have a different influence on you and your writing process than LA, for example?
Yeah, maybe. I think there's always been a little bit of country in my songs. I think even like when I first started writing, I think it's always been there, but you don't hear it as much because it's through the piano. Whereas this record, I'm playing more on the guitar and writing on the guitar. And I did a lot of that in Nashville. And so it does have a slight country edge to it, some of the songs.
And when we talk about writing process, I read that you wrote the song Young Heart, first of all, but it's the last song on the album. Is there a reason for that?
It sort of just felt, I think because it's got this big end section and it's so passionate, and it's also a goodbye song, it just felt right that it was at the end. I kind of thought about putting it first, but we've got Voyager first, we've got The Witching Hour, but then Voyager, which is the first proper track. And that's also kind of a sister song to Young Heart, because it's about saying goodbye and leaving and knowing you have to go on this journey. So they kind of like sandwich the album and they're like sisters, but different stages, which I like.
In the songs of your new album, you talk a lot about heartbreak, sadness and loneliness, things like that. Do you have a tip to heal broken hearts? Is there a universal healing method?
I don't know. I think that's like something only time can fix, really. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know. But I think, like, for me, I'm always amazed because people say when they listen to my albums, sometimes it's helped them through, like different songs have helped them through certain things. And that's always amazing to me, because I always find it really hard to listen to music when I'm sad. Yeah, it makes me more sad.
Yeah.
And so I think it's amazing when people find that helps them heal in some way.
Okay. I only have one more question for you. So I would like to look a little bit more positively into the future with you, because many of your fans are certainly hoping to hear Young Hearts live soon. Are there any live performances planned for this year?
So I've got one show that's planned for the end of the year in November, which will be in London. And I'm so excited just to have like an actual show booked with a proper audience, and fingers crossed that's going to go ahead and we can do it. But I don't know, like touring, I think will have to be probably next spring if we tour, because it's just too hard to know right now what's going on and, if it will go ahead. So, but yeah, I can't wait to be playing this music live. I've like been waiting to play it for so long, and I really wish I could be out there now.
Thank you so much that I had the chance to talk to you, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.